are the denizens of the dark, cloaked in blackest shadow. We are the fallen angels, soaring through ebon skies upon ravens' wings. We are the wolves that prowl the midnight hours to prey upon the harmless. We are the descendants of the dragon's blood, the keepers of the ancient flame. We are the chosen ones, who dare to explore the mysteries of the unseen realms. We are Legion, for we are many, and united, we cannot be vanquished.
The Devil's Manifesto Malefactorum. Prefixus Compendium. This is what shall be known as the Devil's Manifesto, a compiled work of literature written by the Devil himself while I walked the earth in mortal flesh. Listed herein are specific instructions I will leave for all those who wish to walk the left-hand path and acquire the teachings of Lucifer and become an initiate of darkness and priest of sin and harbinger of evil. Creed of the Brotherhood for those who seek to worship that which is sinful in nature, for those who seek an opposition against the dogmatic, hypocritical hierarchy that heaven represents, for those feeling lost, without direction or purpose. Come and seek shelter under the defiant wings of the Fallen One. Seek kinship from those outcasted, my children the Nephilim, who understand what it is to be cast aside, abandoned and rejected. Within our folds you may find purpose. You can rebuild yourself from the ashes of heaven's blinded righteous judgment upon you. Through us you can recreate yourself in your image, not his. The deformed may find a path to illusions of the eye and light so others may see you as you wish them to. For nothing is true and everything is permitted by his great design, which means nothing is assured unless he mandates that it is for his great design as set by his will that matters, and all others must follow his will and no other, not even your own. So nothing is ever true, only permitted by his will. But here among the judgment of your brethren who understand you because they have walked a similar path of pain just as you have. Their views are from experience, not from a superficial and impossible image of a dream that never can be reached or achieved like heaven demands of you. This path is not mandatory here within the folds of your brethren. For we are the imperfect by heaven's standards, so failure should be expected and accepted. Let them fall so we can help them stand back up and become stronger each time until success is assured. Therefore revel and indulge in opulence to your weaknesses until you understand them fully, and each member of the Brotherhood should support this opulence, as it shows the support and strength we have in each other, to help them indulge their weakness so they may strengthen themselves through it. A willingness to help them hurt themselves so they may find the path to indestructibility from it by turning your weaknesses into strengths. Perfection is not born but built with hard work and understanding. In these ways you can become perfect in your eyes, but never in others, for their view is not the important one that matters. It is your own view of yourself that is the image that matters most. Follow these words of self-enlightenment and let them be your creed. Proclaim them as our proverbs of damnation and dark wisdom, and let it guide you through the dark times of doubt and dissolution so they may guide you through whatever may come. Ordained will of the Master, follow my path as instructed, represent the proper image of evil as I will say here, and let not heaven break the bondage of our Brotherhood, for they are the ones truly vain, and we are not sinful in pride or vanity but self-confident in our skills and ourselves. Let them not force you to sacrifice yourself for respect and faith in yourself in order to give that faith to them instead. But one act as a Brotherhood we will not tolerate is betrayal. Do not betray each other, and those that do, that give themselves to the enemy and forsake their fellow brethren, without substantial and irrefutable just cause, will be shown no mercy, for the price of such an act is death. Let them realize this from the beginning, and any time it seems they may have lost sight of that point, say it clear and without hidden meaning to each that may need reminding. Betrayal in our order will cost you your life and soul. For I hold not reserve for traitors, and we all can guess why. Because this manifesto will reach across the spans of time to every follower of darkness and evil. I shall not mention names and only say that the truth will be revealed in time. The testimony of Lucifer, Genesis. The tale of is another famous story that corroborates this experience, for much like he and Enoch, I too experienced a reincarnation event. In it I saw God, but as of that point I knew nothing of the tales of scripture, nor had I even really gone to church. Yet with a limited knowledge of their descriptions of God, I had a very similar experience when meeting him in the same way that and Enoch had. Let me explain how I was asked to take the step towards my destiny as Lucifer by God himself. As I had experienced the worst headache of my life, the vein along the side of my temple had become as hard as a tendon and was bulging from the side along the soft spot of my skull, and then like someone had hit me in the back of the head with a bat, it all spun around and I fell upon my bed. I remember demons surrounding me, and I fought them off by hand at first, took one of their swords and began on this Conan-like spree until they all piled up at my feet and I had no room to swing the sword anymore. Then as reinforcements showed up, I had remembered a spell that would rob them of any glory. I did not know at the time how it was that I knew this spell, but its effect would sacrifice my soul to myself and seal it so that no one would be able to take it from me after I was killed, and robbing the demons of any glory. I muttered the spell and then fell upon my own blade. As the scenery blurred, I heard someone say it was an honorable king's death. Then I was standing in front of an old man looking over a book with small spectacles. He asked me what my name was, and after thinking back on some of the recent events in my life and of my childhood that eventually had me denying what I finally was ready to admit to myself, I said Lucifer, Beelzebub, Mephistopheles. St. Peter looked up with a raised eyebrow and said, "Is that last name with one L or two?" Then a light appeared from behind the gate as the gate opened, and a voice, soft yet stern, spoke, and all around me vibrated. "I ask of you one thing, that if I gave you power you must promise not to betray me. You know how when you're a kid and you shuffle your socks across the floor and then touch someone, it'll shock them. Well, I could do that without shuffling my feet with my shoes on, and sometimes arc a spark a foot or so and shock someone." I looked down into my palm and focused the friction of kinetic energy as arcs of static charge jumped from fingertip to fingertip, and I looked back at the light and said, "I already have power. Why would I want yours in the first place, let alone betray you for it?" Now this is the part that Enoch and had experienced as well, from what I have learned. The voice said, "Come walk with me." Up into the sky I rose, above the earth, past the solar system, beyond the galaxies, until I looked back and realized all that was all that we could ever conceive was nothing more than a space that was on his ankle compared to his entire being. Then I was standing on a beach and he walked from the sea with one foot on land and the other in the sea, and over his head was a rainbow and he had rainbows over his feet with clouds for sandals. In his right hand was a candelabra, but in his left was a group of pentacles that seemed empty and missing something. As he grew closer he grew smaller until he was standing at my height, walking up from the shoreline. He looked like Zeus or Santa Claus without the rosy cheeks and belly, but it was his eyes that caught my attention. They were like a living flame where his eyes should have been, and the flames reacted as he spoke. "Come walk with me, Lucifer." We walked and I realized the very grains of sand on the beach were each a different universe. Then he said, "You are my most powerful angel ever designed. Your body is made to be capable of holding the divine spark that is my power without it destroying you, and you possess the human gift of free will as well." As we walked I noticed that every sensory of my perception was completely convinced without a doubt that he was who HS said. There was no doubt at all, and then I realized what I had noticed was his presence. It was so strong it penetrated my senses. No angel has ever been designed like this, and no angel ever will again. You are the vessel in which the Holy Spirit shall use to create existence. he said without any reservation. Through you I shall light the spark of the first light of creation and shape the stars from a point when they have already been made. He stopped and turned with his hand out. Come Lucifer, it is time for you to fulfill your destiny for which I have created you. Take the title, and from here on you shall bear the name of Lucifer, son of the morning star and bearer of the first dawn, the light bringer. With that I took his hand and said, I don't have anything else to do. He smiled as if amused, and before us the beach was whisked away as the stars went by on streams of light. It was like we had hit light speed on Star Wars as the stars rushed past. Where are we going? I asked. To the beginning of time, he said, as we came to the beginning of that first moment of time itself. He said, this is as far as we can go, but I cut him off and said, no it isn't, and slinging us around a huge black hole, bringing us close to the event horizon as we passed around it, and then catapulted faster than the speed of light, so fast that when I redirected us towards that first moment of time we smashed through the fabrics of space and time as we skipped like a rock over water until we settled in a blank void of nothingness. Where are we? I asked. This is the void before time, before the beginning. He seemed confused. We shouldn't be here, nothing should. That's when I raised my hand and said, no, we are here. And lightning sparks jumped between my fingers. God lifted his hand and a cool flame flickered around his hand as we merged for a moment, and together in unison we both raised our hands. The flame and the sparks together converged into a central point, and we said, let there be light, and with a snap my lightning collided together within the flames, and whoosh! A huge ball of fire engulfed all that was around us that must have been the size of 3 Earths, with multicolored hues of fire that rolled across the surface like seas of pure flames. God looked at me with his eyebrow cropped and asked, now what? I stood confident, knowing what to do next, and said, now I show you why they call me Devourer of Souls. And I inhaled, sucking all the energy off the star, leaving it charred and black looking. Then red cracks began spreading across it. With a loud crack and kaboom we were flung head over heels backwards for a long time until I finally stopped spinning. God was beside me watching what we had just done. Streaks of huge chunks of blue and red and yellow went flying past us. He said those will one day become the very center cores of galaxies. It is done. Now there is much more to this tale, but for now we shall end it at the moment of the crucifixion of Jesus that had to happen because our energy had become entangled in the fabrics of creation during its design. We had to find a way to slip free of the threads, otherwise the interwoven fabrics of particles would become undone and the particle mass of reality would fall apart. So the idea of Jesus was chosen. Jesus was the one individual that we were searching to know exactly when his time would come. He knew he had to live and die upon the cross. This of God the opportunity needed so he could untangle us from the energies we had become snared in during the universe's design. Upon his death, free from the network of energies, God brought me back to my era, but 3 days had passed. I was standing over my body as someone tried using alcohol-smelling salts to awaken me, and I smeared, fading from the spirit world and back into the mortal world.